tuning in for the first time, I know I've got a lot of followers and people that are in my mentorship class. My name's Tom. I've been an investor in real estate. Hey, Anne-Marie, glad you're here. I've been an investor in real estate since I was 19 years old. Made my first million by 28, and that's been 30 years since then. And I continue to do the same thing. Wrote a book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, right here, okay, to my side. And that is a book that has been a top seller at Kindle and Amazon. And you know what? It's like 10, 20 bucks. You guys know the spiel. If you're going to get ripped off by me for 10 or 20 bucks, because so many people just take advantage of people's hopes and dreams. You know, take them into classes, take their money, go to a free seminar, you come out with $10,000, $20,000 in debt. It's ridiculous. Happens all the time. And you don't need it. You don't need it. That money that you would waste on an expensive course or ridiculously expensive seminar should be used for your seed capital to build your fortune. And that's what I show you how to do in my book. My book. And I'm getting used. Obviously, I'm not very slick with this stuff, but I'm getting used to stage right and stage left. Hey, Kyle. So I got quite a few people here in my mentorship, and I'm really looking forward to everybody getting in here because really cool deal. The reason I'm starting this a little late today is because I've got a deal going right now. You guys know I've been under the pressure of a 1031, and so I thought it would be fun to it would be fun to listen to Ben Mallah's take, because he's talking about no more 1031s, and I guess there's, the Democrats want to get rid of it, which they're not gonna, but it's always something. But I am happy to report that one of my mentees, Chris, who you guys have seen, interesting story. Chris brought me he did his bird dogging, right? And you got to remember, Chris is somebody he met me in Home Depot. He recognized me from my show, and then he signed up for the class. He was one of the last people to sign up for the class, and he's, but he comes here and helps me in the studio. He's not here with me today, but I just left him a little while ago, and I told Chris, I said, man, he gave me the call. I woke up late, and I said, let's go. Like I tell you, time kills deals. You got to jump on them. You got to jump on everything as soon as it's available. Somebody asked me last night, what's the biggest regret, biggest loss I've had? And I didn't go into that so much as what I told him is the thing that has cost me millions of dollars is hesitation, procrastination. There's nothing worse. When you already know the knowledge, when you have the knowledge that you're going to buy something and you already know that it's worth more, I mean, you jump on it, you take it, you get on it right away. Well, Chris had just finished my course along with Anne-Marie and Kyle too, right? Heckmer. You guys are going to love this story. And we're going to do it in a Zoom. I'm going to do a private Zoom because I can't share the details, right? I can't share the details in the public right now. But I'm actually waiting for an email right now, which should be in my inbox any minute here. And it's not as of this minute. But I got a DocuSign that I'm so happy to sign because that will take care of one of the two 1031s that I need to do. If you don't know what a 1031 is, it's basically taking the profits and proceeds from the sale of one property and then putting them directly into a new purchase where you never touch any of the money. It's a nice little tool for deferring taxes. You'll pay your taxes eventually, but it puts it off. And so you get the benefit of using that, in this case, 25% of 400,000 or something. If I held the money any longer, I'd be paying $100,000 to Uncle Sam this year. But by being able to take the whole investment and reinvest it, I don't have to pay him till I sell the next property, the one that I'm buying with it. So very important tool. I was curious when I saw Ben Mallah's deal here, and so let me work on that, and we'll get started here in 1 second. All right. So, let's see what I got here. Nope. Anyhow, guys, I don't have my helper here, so I am not doing as good. But let's get this started. Everybody's got good audio, you said already. Everything look framed okay? You guys can see me well enough and see what's going on here? I'm getting the chat box open here so I can respond as you guys have questions. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this thing started. This is interesting. We're kind of going into this blind. They're talking about the 1031's. We got to kind of search through it as we go. So let's take a look.
Hey, what the hell? I asked you a simple thing. You screwed up my goddamn selling my rolls on eBay. You didn't bring in no goddamn money. I need money, goddammit.
I got it on eBay. 2 more days left on the auction.
Oh, my God. Anybody want to buy the rolls? Come on. $2.99, I'll take it. I'll even drive you around. I'll make Brooklyn Mike drive you around for a week. It's a beautiful white rose, and it's if you don't like white, you can peel off the wrap and it'll be gray.
EWD, extended version.
Yeah. He can't sell nothing. Even Brooklyn Mike can't sell nothing. You're
I'm
useless.
in a pandemic right now. Time's tough.
You are a pandemic.
I'm in a pandemic right
You're a
now.
idiot. Go find out what you eat for dinner.
When we send up the dentist, we got to get it set up. We're following.
We're trying to find one. The only problem is we may not be able to find a human one. We have to go with a veterinarian one.
Oh, man. Here we go.
We're going to go get the guy that works at the dog track, the dentist at the dog track.
Yeah.
Dog track dentist. Well, get ready, baby, because we're ripping all those goddamn teeth out. Then you'll be walking around going, it's pretty much what you do anyway.
All right.
All right, go sell my car. Go do something. Make some money, goddammit.
So that's interesting. Ben Mallah's getting rid of one of his cars, right? God, sorry. This is too much. All right, let me get this out of the way here. What's interesting is a lot of you, when things get tough and times get tight, the first thing millionaires do anyways is they'll usually get rid of their extra sports car. They'll get rid of something that they don't need. And again, he's talking about getting rid of a $299,000 Rolls Royce or something. But I thought it's interesting because I bought an SL 500 little convertible. They cost about $110 new. I bought it with a couple of years, only a few years old, and I bought it for $33,000. That was in 2009, and it was like a 2003. I only had 20,000 miles on it, so that was a great deal. But the reason I did it is I just read an article where it said the first thing to go is like the second home or the second vehicle, the extra vehicles. The stock market drops, people go, we got to cut back. And similarly, I see, Ben's talking about it and that he's doing the same thing. So if you're just getting here, Tom, FlipAnythingUSA, I have FlipAnythingUSA.com. You can see I've got a book up above there, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. Anyways, but we're watching Ben Mallah's take on this 1031 thing, and we're going to talk about 1031s. We're going to talk about deals too. I was explaining earlier that that one of the things that I have going right now is I'm taking care of my own 1031 right now, and one of the issues I have two 1031s that I have to relocate that money, and fortunately it looks like today I did, and I'll tell you some of the conditions because I don't want to, like I say, I like to get everything signed first, but this fills the bill. Again, I'm going into buying a residential property, which I really didn't want to do, didn't really intend to do, but I'm kind of running out of time, and this is going to be a really nice investment. I'm going to show you guys when it's done. I also have 2 offers out on 2 buildings that are $1 million. One's $1.2 million, one's $1.5 million. I can still buy both of those 2, but the intention was to buy 2 properties in that price range using the $300,000 and $400,000 from these 2 1031s. But regardless, I feel like, okay, I got a little relief now, because if only one of those two goes through, that's okay. I'll use the funds from one of those 1031s to buy this residential property, which I didn't anticipate doing. But it's a great deal. Also, Chris is going to get a nice assignment fee, right? A nice assignment fee, which is something I show you guys how to do. And now you're going to see that it's exactly as I told you. It's exactly as I told you. And, you know, I'm a busy guy, and I've been looking at all these big buildings. Well, Chris, he kind of actually, he knows the area that I'm looking in, and he's been keeping an eye on it. He lives in one of the areas that I've already bought 6, 7 houses in. And he called me up this morning and said, hey, man, I got something. And I'm going to share it for the Zoom and the mentors group, because I feel like I'd be giving away too much information right off the bat. But it's cool. It's really cool. So Chris will be on. We'll do a little show, and we can talk about that, because now that's another testimonial, which I got quite a few testimonials. Quite a few of you have already made deals that are in my mentorship class. And look, we've only been done with that 1 month crash course. We've only been out of it a week, and Ron's already bought 4 properties, and others have got others going. But let's see what we got here. All right. I've got the chat bot here, I think. Golly, okay. Okay, so Richard Steele says, hey, Tom, do you worry about deferring the taxes later? Yes, Richard, that's what we're talking about exactly. I'm not worried about paying them later. No, absolutely not. Listen, just make it basic. On $300,000, okay, I got $300,000. It's pure profit from another deal. I'll have to pay roughly 20%, actually nearly 25% according to my CPA. It should be 19%, but apparently it's 24%. So just say 25%. So it's going to cost me $75,000 of that $300,000. And then the other one that I've got about $400,000 in, but I have to, it's all profit, but I need to buy something more than $565,000. Okay, and I like to. This is kind of how I built my whole empire. Is, you know, I buy, and when there's a profit, I realize the whole profit, and I take that, and then I buy something, and I leverage it into something a little bit bigger. Like in this case, if I buy this residential property, I mean, I'm going to put roughly $300,000 down on a $450,000 property. So I have heavy equity, which is okay, because if I wanted to. And I'm going to pay cash. I have money besides the 1031 money, so I'll pay cash for it. But I like that, because if I need $200,000 for something, I can just pull it right out of that property. In fact, I've got hard money lenders. You know, a lot of you guys worry about hard money lenders. I got hard money lenders loan me money for 4% because they know I'm good for it. They trust my judgment, and that's the situation you'll be in if you follow, you know, what you learn in my book. And but so it's a safeguard. I didn't leverage heavily into this other piece, and like I said, if I can get both of these other 2 buildings that I'm put offers on, I'll buy those, and I'll use the 1031s from that, and then I'll just buy this other one with cash I have in the bank. Plus, if I have to pull on a line of credit, then I'll pull on a line of credit, which we talk about lines of credit too. But no, I would rather pay the taxes down the road, because let me put it this way. If I make $200,000 on this house, you know, now I'm going to make, you know, I'm making $200,000, but I'll pay $50,000 on that $200,000, plus I'll still have to go back and pay the $75,000 from the other one. So that's $125,000 I'm going to pay in the future. But as of today, I don't have to pay anything, and I'm making money. I'm making money with money that I'm deferring taxes on, and that's the beauty of the tool. And you know, it's, you know, you don't get many breaks from the IRS, right? I mean, a lot of us, we just feel like we're a cow being milked. You know, we're a cow with an address that they can follow around and milk, and that's kind of how it works. That's kind of how I'm not complaining. It's the system we have. I love America, but you know, I just need to make more money. You know, and then things won't seem so expensive. And that's what I tell you. Don't complain about how expensive things are. They ain't going to do any good. Just worry about making more money. Make more money, and then things will seem insignificant. You know, I think from the time that I started, and and I just did this. If you watch this video I just did on Grant Cardone, I call it tear jerker. I'm not a big fan of Grant Cardone, and but in there, what was I going to tell you? But in there he's, it sounds like he might be in some sort of rehabilitation center. That's what he's talking about. It kind of sounds like it, and of some sort. I'm not saying he's got any weird problems, but it says he's into something, and it sounds like some sort of rehab or I don't know, maybe he's in some sort of self-awareness thing. I don't know, but you have to watch it. Go watch it. It's called Tear Jerker. But he's talking about, people that, can't have to think twice before they go spend money at Starbucks and this, that. Well, I can relate to that. When I was younger, I didn't go to Starbucks, but in all honesty, I've kept my overhead so low my whole life. I mean, I was raised primarily with my dad. We'd eat out almost every meal. We'd eat at McDonald's. We'd eat at Denny's, forever. We ate out a lot of meals, me and my dad. And when I went on my own, I continued to eat out all the time. I'd be the first one at a cafe. I'd have a big omelet every morning, and I'd be good for the day with just that. But so I've been spoiled that I've always lived within my means, but I've always eaten out a bunch. But the point I was getting at is I was sitting down with somebody, and I remember that the wife had commented, this couple that I knew, and she had commented about I said, yeah. I go, God, it cost, I was complaining about it cost. I go, yeah. I go, I spend $100 to fill up my gas tank. It was in my Mercedes or something, and gas was more expensive. And I go, yeah, I can't believe $100 to fill my tank, because I remember filling my tank when I was a kid for $10, $5. When somebody pitched in for gas, they'd give you $1, and that'd buy 4 gallons. That's a long time ago. But she had made the comment that she's got $25 a week for gas. That's her allotment. So she doesn't even fill her tank. Something I can't relate to, and I don't. Some of you probably can, but it doesn't matter. But that's the beauty of what happened today with Chris. Now, Chris is a, I would consider kind of your average hard-working guy and innovative. He already has an Airbnb, and that's what drew him to me. He's already got an interest in real estate. Well, he just made $5,000 this morning. He just made $5,000 with me. And assuming I sign this deal and it closes, and I'm sure it will. I got no reason to think it won't. But I'm going to make a lot of money on this deal. He's making $5,000 for just saying, hey, Tom, look over here, look what I got. And that's what you can do. When you get something tied up, he didn't even have to get it tied up. He was going to go try to get it tied up. I'm going to it's going to be nice for you to get a take, because me and him, we went over together, and I said, here, kind of just let me do the talking. And I was kind of correcting him. I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. And I'll explain what I'm talking about later. But I made the deal. I made the deal on the spot. And no sign on the property, hadn't gone up, hadn't been listed yet. There is an agent in the mix, but that's okay. And we'll get into that more. But you guys know what I'm talking about. If you got my book, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get back to the 1031 stuff. I'm not sure. Richard, hey, Tom, do you worry about deferring? No. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. You reading the book, Richard? Good. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I understand. Here's the thing. This is good. This is kind of the conversation I wanted to have. Is what Richard's talking about. He said his current boss or mentor, where he's doing real estate deals, that guy will buy and rehab a property, and he's saying that he just sells it and just takes the lumps. In other words, he pays on the gains. Well, I don't advise that. If you have to, you have to. But if you flip a property inside a year, your taxes are twice as much as they are if you wait 1 year. I've bought houses and just let them sit empty for a year because I was so confident in the economy. And I know I could always sell them at any time because I keep them empty, where it's a little more troublesome when you have them occupied. But a lot of times I can reason that, okay, I got a house, within 1 year, my capital gains, let's say I'm going to make $100,000. So I know that instead of making, 80, if I wait, I can make 80 on it if I wait till the end of the year. If I don't wait, then I'm going to have to pay whatever. I'm going to make 60 if I sell it right away. Well, sometimes I just look at the math and I go, well, hell, why would I want to pay, whatever? Actually, it's closer to 35, so it'd be 65,000. I can make 65,000, or I can make, say, 80,000. Well, that 15,000 more that I would pay if I sold it today, that'll pay the rent for, in other words, I can just let things coast for a year, and I might lose $24,000. I mean, I might make $24,000 in rents. And that is also nice, but usually I don't rent a place for a year. But what I'll do is I'll just let it sit empty, and I'll make some minor modifications and fix-ups, and then at the end of the year I'll just sell it, but I'll let it sit empty. Or, I might store something, I might park a car in the garage, or I might do something like that. But sometimes, and I might get the benefit of appreciation if it's a real hot market, and I'm not much of a speculator. I don't believe in speculation if you don't have a lot of money. If you have a lot of money, you can do it. So I speculate a little bit, but that's not how I started, and I would not tell anybody to speculate. And your boss is doing the right thing, because he's building his portfolio. You can never get hurt taking a profit. Remember, you can never get hurt taking a profit. So taking the cash immediately is a very safe way to go. Oh, Kevin, you're watching from the Netherlands. Oh, thank you. He says it's a great show. I appreciate that. Listen, I got nothing. Look, I've been sharing videos for 3 years, and a lot of people made money just learning from me from the videos. And then I made the book, and now the book, you're risking $10, $20, and then some people are in my mentorship, and they're making great money too. And listen, you could just watch my videos. You don't have to spend a penny. Just watch all my videos. There's probably thousands of hours, but this is a shortcut to cut through all the videos. And if you take my mentorship class, very reasonable, and compared to, it's ridiculously reasonable compared to what's out there. But all right, so what do you say we watch a little bit more of this? Again, I didn't realize this thing was a whole hour that he's got. We'll have to fast forward through some of it. Do any of y'all watch Ben Mallah? Look, Ben Mallah's made a lot of money. He's made it in the HUD market, with HUD rentals and government paying the rents. But not something I can really relate to. I've only had one HUD rental in my life, and it was okay. I made a lot of money on the deal, but it's a different income base. It's just a very different income base. But let's just see what Ben has to say. So, yeah, Ben doesn't go into quite the detail, I think, but I don't watch him all the time. But what I can tell you is, whenever I hear Ben give advice, I feel like I hear myself talk, and it's because we've lived the same life of making our wealth on real estate. So obviously we're gonna be parallel in a lot of the way we think. But he's got experience with homes and stuff that I don't, the HUD stuff, and I have experience that he doesn't have. And like I said, I've rolled tons of little deals, and I don't get the impression he's done that, but I think that's what's probably the most important to my audience, is being able to start with nothing and do some small stuff. He does do numbers often in his videos. Yeah, no, I've seen him do some stuff. Yeah, the papers, explaining, just some of the basics, and agreed, it's a good thing. But like he says, you find something. His deal is find something that you can put a little money and fix up and sell it for more, and get the cash flow. It's great advice. And I know he did start with some duplexes and things, and so we are very, very similar in that respect. Let's see if we watch a little bit of this. I'm going to speed him up a little bit. You guys know I'm kind of impatient. So we'll try it at 1.75. Hey, Risha, glad you're here. Oh, does he do syndication? Does he? Yeah, you know what? There's some guys that do some syndication. I don't know. I didn't know that he did, but you know what? He looks like he does plenty of his own deals all by himself. Let's watch. Let me see here.
All right, talk to you guys later. Take it easy.
Good riddance. All right, you got anybody out there needs any help tonight? Enough of our nonsense.
Shout out to Daniel Ishakawa
Hey, chocolat.
for 10 pounds.
10 pounds.
Where were you based
I got
while you were?
100 pounds. I need to get rid of.
Where were you based while you were stationed in Germany?
I was based in Stuttgart, Germany. Stuttgart. I drove every inch of that country. Very nice place, except for the people who live there. All right, what else you got?
IGH Properties.
IGH.
Thanks for the 1999.
1999 for IGH Properties. Thank you very much. That's a late fee.
Do you regret buying John's Pass? How long do you really think it will take to start making money on it with what's going on?
I mean, right now, the problem is all tourism is down, so the stores are having trouble paying their rents. The parking garage is not staying full. It's hurting us, but we're trying to take a lot of empty space and build out some hotel rooms. When this thing all blows over, hopefully things will be all right, What else can we do? We're stuck. We owe the bank a fortune. We paid a fortune. We just got to wait it out, and that's why everybody's lives are on standstill right now. It's a stupid thing,
Yeah, so I think that John's Pass property, I'm not sure what he paid for that. Heckmer, maybe you know. What did he pay for that thing? I thought it was like $19 million, but I could be wrong.
Can't do nothing. Can't solve the problem. Can't do nothing. But I wish everybody would wear a mask and stay away from each other, so hopefully that'll make it go away. But John's Pass is a great place, but we're hurting. All right, what else you got? Caller, hey, how are you? It's Ben. How can we help you? Not there.
Hello?
Nobody's there. Nobody home. Nobody home.
Hello?
Hello, hey, it's Ben. How are you? How can we help you?
Hi, I'm the guy from Oakland, California. We spoke a few months ago. To confirm the sandwich shop still is open.
The sandwich shop is still open on Seminary Boulevard and MacArthur Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Is the Baskin Robbins still there too, next door?
It's not Baskin Robbins. It's like privately owned, but it's still an ice cream shop there.
Oh, okay. Yep, I spent a lot of time in that sandwich shop. Everybody used to go there. Big sandwich.
It's still busy.
Right next to Mills College.
Yep.
Right by
yep.
580 Freeway. I know every inch of that place.
So I was going to ask you, when you were flipping homes in this area, what kind of software did you have to track all your properties?
When I was looking at property, we didn't even have software, I don't think. We had nothing. All we had was maybe the MLS, but stuff that was on sale to go look for. We used to track the foreclosures. I joined the service. They used to send me foreclosure information at the courthouse steps auctions. I don't know. I was just running around like a nut looking at anything I heard that might even be an opportunity. So I didn't have any software or anything.
How did you track if a tenant paid rent, how many units you had?
When I first started, I used a goddamn book. I'd write down all the apartment numbers and a rent roll. You write down your apartment numbers, how much the rent was due, and how much they paid, and what the balance was. Eventually, we started using. Back then, my brother actually created a form on FileMaker Pro. We used that. I'm talking. We barely used computers back then. Everything was done by hand. We used to have ledger cards to keep track of the tenants' rents. We'd flip through them and have a tenant on a card, and we'd stand in the stand, and we'd flip through it, and we'd write in there how much they paid, how much they owed, and all that stuff. We did a lot of stuff by hand. We didn't really depend on computers back then.
And what?
So that's interesting. So like me, we started before computers were even available to us, right? And I remember like the first computer I bought, I spent like, I don't know, $5,000. And I mean, it was about as slow as, you can't even imagine how slow it was. It was so slow. But the high speed is good. Yes, I use PropStream. I just recently got acquainted with that. I've been using a lot of different other stuff before that. I kind of created my own PropStream myself back in the 80s, but I didn't share it with anybody. And there was a company called DataQuick that you could pull the data over line, but before that, I would pull it off of the local records and microfiche, and I paid girls to input it into a program. What was that program? Anyways, it was long before Word was even invented. It was a different program, but it was a super basic one, but yeah, it worked great. So look, so you guys are cool with the high speed. I'm going to keep running them at high speed. Might even bump them up about 2.5% faster, but we'll see. But I like that he's talking about, the manual system and all that. Everything's become automated. I remember a girl was stealing from me. She was stealing, I have laundromats, and the laundromats were putting out about, I think I was making about $25 to $30 per tenant per month off my laundromats that were within my apartment building. And that's why I know that quarters, I would have a bag of quarters like this, $500, bag of quarters like this. And it weighed, that's like 22 pounds is $500 because it was $22.50 per pound for quarters. So that's how I had a counting scale. You would, whatever it weighed, you could do the math and you could figure out how much was in the bag, and I would make deposits, a huge bag of quarters down to the bank. But that manual system, unfortunately, you can also lead to theft. I had a lot of tenants that were paying by cashier's check, and I come to find out something started to smell, and I found where I started questioning a lot of things, and all of a sudden checks that seemed to have disappeared reappeared. And what it was is she was having them write cashier's checks or money orders. And here I'd have a unit that I think is empty, is vacant, and come to find out she's renting it as if it's her own and taking that money, and some other terrible things as well. But in the end, I figured it out. But shortly after I put the kibosh and gave her the boot, all of a sudden her son quit going to college. So I think I was putting him through college without realizing it. But it is what it is. Let's listen to some more.
What about now? Do you use
Now we use everything. Now we don't do nothing without the computer. The computer does everything. I'm surprised we even have to show up anymore. The computer does it all. So yeah, but we have people entering the data now. I think we're using I don't know what we're using. I have to ask my son. We usually don't know. Some rent program we do use. I know we keep track of all our bills and expenses with I don't know. My brain ain't working. I was working hard today. But QuickBooks takes care of all of our financing, and then he uses some kind of rent pro or rent something software that keeps track of all our rents. Now we have to use it.
I'm guessing he's using Rent Tech. I actually have Rent Tech Direct, and I've been pretty happy with it. So exactly like Ben, I've been using Quicken. My in-house bookkeeper uses Quicken, and she supplies my CPA with all the numbers from all the properties. And then, but I have Rent Tech Direct, which they ought to sponsor me because I'm a big fan of them, and I use the heck out of it. But with Rent Tech Direct, it's beautiful. It even gives me a graph. I can kind of look at my vacancy, and I love it when my vacancy is 0. And then I know the max. I can go in. I can look at what each property's producing per month. It's pretty cool. That's Rent Tech Direct. And anyways, but I think that's what he's trying to remember for himself, and I do dig it. It's pretty cool.
Very technical, especially as a retail. We got all kinds of CAM charges and rent charges and this and that and everything. So,
Okay, and my final question is, when on one of the previous videos you were joking with Maxwell and you mentioned something about tax credit properties. Can you explain that a little more?
Who's Maxwell?
From Miami, Dad. From this conference.
Oh.
Yeah, it was one of the conferences.
Tax credit? Tax credit properties are done through the state normally. That's where, the state gives you tax credits in exchange for you building affordable housing. When you build that housing, they're going to lay a lot of restrictions on you. How much you can charge for rent, how much income has to be for the people, certain programs they want to see you do.
What's the benefit?
The benefit is that they will give you the money in tax credits, and then you sell the tax credits to big corporations or people who have big tax bills and turn it into cash. So basically, you're building a building for free almost. You go out and spend $10 million buying a building, they give you $10 million worth of tax credits. You sell the tax credits, you build the building for free. They give you a free building. It's more technical than that, but you have to go to your state housing finance agency to learn about it. Every state has a housing finance agency, and you go there on their website, and they'll explain everything you need to know about tax credits. The only thing we do is we buy them after their 15-year first period of being in operation. Once they meet that 15-year hurdle, some of the restrictions sometimes get a little lighter. We come in after 15 years, fix them up, and get them running right, and we don't make a lot of money off of them, but we do okay. It's better than not buying nothing at all. So go to your housing finance agency if you want to learn anything about housing tax credits.
That's news to me. I just learned something from Ben. See, this is what's great. Ben is he's playing a different game than I do. So that's news to me. I'm going to look into that. That is really sounds pretty interesting.
Okay, Oaktown, what's up, Oaktown? Hey, I had a big fire down there. There's a big fire downtown, and then that guy from that show is in Oakland, United Chains of America. You know what I'm talking about?
I know about the fire, and I know about there was the riot, and they destroyed the Mercedes dealership and one of the Dodge dealerships in the area.
That's crazy. Why would
they stole a bunch of Hellcats. They found the safety box with the keys in it, and they stole a bunch of Hellcats out of the Alameda dealership.
Oh my God, that's crazy. People need to stop acting nuts. Acting nuts ain't the solution. What?
Nothing.
What do you give me ugly look for?
I'm not getting.
All right, well you take care in Oaktown and be safe, okay?
Thank you.
How much did you pay for the Hellcat? $1,000?
No comment.
All right, take care. Good luck to you.
Hey, shout out to Glockaholic.
Glockaholic. The hell's a Glockaholic? You got too many Glocks?
Yeah.
Lots of guns.
I know.
Glockaholic.
Can you ask Ben if he has ever been to Myrtle Beach, South
That
Carolina?
might be a little
What do you
too
think about it?
fast.
I've heard about it. When did we go to South Carolina on the beach? We went to Savannah, Georgia. We went to some other beach. No, I haven't been to Myrtle Beach. I heard about it, but I don't know about it. And the best way to know about it is to pay it a visit. So go to the beach and check it out for yourself, and then let me know if there's any opportunities down there, because I can't find opportunities right now anywhere. Everything's over.
Hey, Charles, glad you're here.
You don't lose. A lot of people want to live near the beach. Whether it's tourism or whether apartments or retail. If it's on the beach or close to a beach, you normally do good. Except Daytona. Daytona kicked my ass, and I'm glad to be gone. All right, what else we got?
Shout out to Happy Power.
Happy Power.
Looking to buy my first home around $200,000. Is $20,000 enough to put down for a down payment? Any tips on buying a first home? I make too much money to get help.
It depends on your lender. If you go FHA, you should only need about $7,000 to $10,000. You need to go talk to the banker. Who's going to loan you the rest of the money? There might be you go FHA, you get 10% down. You might find a bank with 10% down. You might have to give 20% down. Depends on your credit. Depends on your income. It depends on a lot of things. Go talk to the expert. Don't listen to a schmuck like me. Get it from the horse's mouth. Go see the banker. The guy that's going to write you the check. Find out what he's going to do for you. People don't realize. You got to spend time talking to banks. The banks and the money. Talk to them. They got the answers. They got the money. That's what I do. I had a meeting today with Wells Fargo. We went out to lunch.
Yeah, so that's very, what he just said establish a relationship with your banker, and whether you have a lot of money or not, but especially if you do, you know, the banks compete for you. Your business, and you know, I Wells Fargo, a number of local banks, and Chase. I borrowed $3 million from Wachovia before they went under, and it's real important to have a banker and have that rapport. And like I said, they'd go to lunch. I used to go grab margaritas and enchiladas with one of my bankers, and the bank would pay for it. And we'd get a little buzz going and have a good time once a week. And yeah, God dang, I hadn't talked to him in a long time. Dave, his name was Dave. Oh, I'll leave his last name out of it, but nice guy, good banker. But that comfort that when, because they, you know, when people loan you money at my level and Ben's level, you know, they'll go into a meeting and they go to the board and they say, okay, I got this, because one of the reasons is because we're asking for a better deal. We're asking for a better deal. We want maybe a longer term. We want better interest rates. We want to pay less points. And so with that banker knowing you so well, they can go in and say with confidence, look, I've known this guy for 10 years. He makes money. He makes money. He knows what he's doing. And then they'll do for you what's not on the standard pamphlet. They'll go beyond that. They'll do a better job and be more competitive. And so it's super. And I can tell you right now, I have one banker that I've worked with quite a bit over the last 10 years. And I follow her. She keeps quitting, and then she goes to another bank, and then I follow her because she knows me. And I get somebody new, the bank goes, well, yeah, we know we've loaned you a lot of money, you know, and they'll see that I owe them, you know, whatever, you know, millions at any particular branch. But they know that I've got a good record and all that other good stuff. But it's not quite the same where for her, going to a new bank, she part of her starting that job, the way she shows that she proves her worth is to bring new business, And so I represent the new business. That helps her. Of course, now she's got to sell them on, well, look, you know, Tom's good for it, but we can give him this good deal, and he'll be a good customer, and she can say she's done it for me in the past. And, you know, like I tell you guys, get a pre-qualified letter. It's important. I told my daughter just this week, I'm going to sell her one of my houses. I told her, I said, look, go establish yourself with this branch and get a pre-qual letter, and if I don't, you know, sell one of my properties, we'll just find a good deal for you to buy. So she's doing that. My daughter's, you know, just out of college. She's been out of college like 6 months, and she's a CPA, or not a CPA. She hasn't passed that yet. She's a, what is it? She's got a master's in accounting. She's a very bright girl, but she hasn't passed the CPA exam yet. But she's still working on that, but that doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is she's going to get a property soon in her name using her credit, and I'll make sure she gets a good deal. But what he said is true. Get some established, get some rapport going with your bank. It's real important.
We talked about this, we talked about that. You know, I know where they stand, I know what I can do, what I can't do. It's very important to have dialogue and talk to the banks. They'll tell you what they want and what they will do for you. Okay, what else you got?
Hey, shout out to Jenny for $50.
Jenny, $50. Same Jenny from Forrest Gump. Jenny!
Have you considered investing in something different at the moment?
Friend.
Have you considered investing in something different at the moment?
Oh, Forrest. What'd you say, Forrest? No.
Have you considered investing in something different at the moment?
You know, I don't like to invest in things that's different because I don't know them. You know, I try to stick to what I know, but what I know is not going nowhere right now. I'm hoping it's going to come around. But I wouldn't invest in anything right now, except if you had some good stock tips on some, you know, pharmaceuticals or something that makes sense maybe. But right now is very time to run the cash. Run the cash. I wouldn't be investing in anything unless you're 100% sure. You know, very dangerous times right now. I'm seeing all kinds of people losing their shirt. You have reached a number that is no longer in service and has been disconnected.
Hello?
Hello?
This is the Mallah Podcast.
Hello?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how are you today, Ben? How are you? How can we help you?
Yeah, well, I was just actually, I was calling to just wonder about, you know, what made you go from apartments to, you know, hotels and stuff like that.
Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, when I did it, there was no, the apartment business, you know, it's a market. Everything goes up, everything goes down. Sometimes, when you know, and at the time I started buying hotels, I couldn't find a decent apartment deal. So, you know, I had Uncle Sam knocking on my door saying, hey, pay up, buddy. You sold property, now you owe the tax. And I said, well, I don't want to pay the tax. I'm not opening the door, so I'll pay it later. So I had to go out and I started looking at the hotel business. But my sister-in-law, who I raised like my daughter, she actually went and got her master's in hotel management, and she introduced me to her professor. So I felt pretty confident between her and her professor helping me, who's now happy, who runs all our hotels. And she still runs hotels. I felt real confident investing in them. So by investing in them, got me in hotels. And now I'm sorry I'm here. Now, you can't control it. It's life. I did really well for a while in hotels, and now I'm taking a beating. But I had a way to go. It was either out of storage facilities or some other sort of real estate. But it just happened that she wanted to learn that business, and she did. And she took us to a high level, and hopefully things will get better.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, the only reason I asked is because it just seems like it's heavy on the management side.
It's extremely heavy on the management side. It's a major business you're running. It's more of a business than it is real estate. I mean, I can run 200 apartments with exactly 4 people, 4 employees, 2 in the office and 2 doing maintenance. If you got a 200-room hotel, you might need 80 or 100 employees with the housekeepers and the front desk, and you got a restaurant and the dishwashers and the servers and the cooks and the bellman, and it's crazy, and washing the sheets. So yeah, hotel business is not really real estate. It's a business. It just looks like real estate.
Yeah, that hotel business, that's the thing. A lot of people ask me if I buy hotels. Listen, if I bought a hotel, sometimes you can buy a hotel and then you can rent it, or you can have it completely maintained and run by like a Wyndham or a lot of people don't realize Hilton and some of these other places, not specifically Hilton, but they'll come in and they'll just take over a property and manage it. Hospitals too. They'll come in and take over a hospital, or go in and they'll create a hospital. And they're not really your tenants. Sometimes you're kind of the owner of the operation, but they are the management. But they make it work and they make it give a return. Not for me, but Ben's done it, and I'm sure he makes a pile of money down there at the tourists. I heard about it after the fact, but I know of a little hotel, 21 units, and that guy probably makes, oh my gosh, he is making, I guess he's making about $5,000 a day, okay, times 30, right? So $150,000. He's making $1.8 million a year, rough. I mean, that's the gross, but he only paid $1.5 million for the whole property. So quick return. But guess what? They live in the unit behind the office. It's a family-run business. Everybody is a slave to the place. In the beginning they were, but it can be very lucrative. You can do a small unit and still make, $700,000-800,000 a year as a hotel. You can make a lot more money, but it's a business, like you said. It's more work. There's more to do. But you don't actually, a small hotel, you don't need a restaurant. See, I would never want a restaurant again. I've owned restaurants. I don't want to ever do that again. But what he's talking about is everything's included, room service, and he's got that's a big business. But a smaller place, say 20 units, you get the benefit of the high rent. They just walk across the street, and they can go eat it. They can go eat at Ben's hotel, and you just rent them a room out of your little hotel that's across the street from Ben's big one. So stuff like that you should consider too. And let's keep listening. Everybody's okay with the high speed, right? Please, and you can keep asking questions. I'll come back and go to your questions when we wrap up here.
Well, hopefully things flip around real quick and we get rid of this COVID stuff. Because, I got mad.
All right. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Good luck to you, too.
Yeah, you definitely. Take care.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, you said the bad word and we're not supposed to say
Remember,
it.
if you call in...
You two won't pay us. Who the hell's at my gate, goddammit?
If you do call in, please remember to not say the C word or anything related to that, to our current situation, please.
Okay.
Who's that?
Sarah dropping off a line. I'm also the gatekeeper here.
Hey, shout out-
It only goes to my phone, so I'm like the gate man.
Shout out to Bass Vids for $3.99.
Bass Vids,
What's your
Bass
thoughts
Vids.
on business loan form? C word.
Business loan form.
Business loan form.
Four. We took some of the money. I'm not going to deny it. My son's going to apply for some loans. If they want to give you loans for it, take the money. Take the money. If you're hurting and you need money, and the government's willing to give you a loan, then take it. We spent most of ours on labor, to keep people employed, and we still got to lay off a ton of people. But take it. Just read the fine print. What else you got?
Which, by the way, if you don't know what he's talking about the PPP or PPK money, whatever. In fact, I've got a copy of one of those. Yeah, check this out. So I got a copy of the check right here. That's to one of my companies for $106,000, and basically that company that represents about 2.5 months labor, and it was probably the smartest thing I've ever seen the government do is give employers like me and Ben a check so that we could just keep paying people. We keep paying people whether they're working or not. We're paying them. We became the unemployment, an extension of the unemployment office, which was great. The workers didn't have to get disrupted, and then by the time things blow over, and they're very careful not to say the C word, because I think what happens is it penalizes the views, and you won't be seen or you won't find the videos in the traffic.
Oh, we have a call. We have a call.
Brooklyn Mike, I can't go to seaweed.
Tell Brooklyn Mike, go chew on a damn, chew on something. Don't go chew on a fork. Those damn piranha teeth.
Hello?
Hey, it's Ben Mel. How are you today? How can we help you?
Ben Mallah, I'm great. How are you?
Hanging in there, hanging in there.
Listen, we spoke before. I'm just very curious to get your thoughts on the upcoming Biden releases economic plan, and it's got a crazy thing in there that hurts real estate people, and particularly people like yourself, with the 1031 exchange elimination. I don't know if you
If Biden eliminates the 1031, I'm going to eliminate Biden. No, I mean, the problem is, let's face it, I hate politics really, but, the problem is that, they knock people, the Democrats knock people that got off their ass and tried to build a life for themselves. The government has, if it wasn't for the 1031, I wouldn't have grown so big. I wouldn't be spending millions of dollars at Home Depots. I wouldn't be employing almost 800 people. I wouldn't be doing all kinds of spending. A lot of things wouldn't be going on. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be living in a big fancy house either. I mean, yeah, it brought me a big fancy house, but the 1031 is what made me grow. It's what forced me to keep buying, keep growing, keep fixing. All the nice pieces, all the pieces of crap properties I took and fixed them up only because I knew that I could 1031 the profits and do another deal and do it again. I provided so much good housing.
Okay, so I'm going to slow it down now because now he's really talking about 1031s. So let's take our time to hear this. I'm going to get him back to more normal. He's excited and he's talking faster now too. So let me back him up just a hair. Let's hear about this 1031 stuff.
They knock people. The Democrats knock people that got off their ass and tried to build a life for themselves.
Agreed.
The government has, if it wasn't been a 1031, I wouldn't have grown so big. I wouldn't be spending millions of dollars at Home Depots. I wouldn't be employing almost 800 people. I wouldn't be doing all kinds of spending. A lot of things wouldn't be going on. Oh yeah, I wouldn't be living in a big fancy house either. I mean, yeah, it brought me a big fancy house, but the 1031 is what made me grow. It's what forced me to keep buying, keep growing, keep fixing. All the nice pieces, all the pieces of crap properties I took and fixed them up only because I knew that I could 1031 the profits and do another deal and do it again. I provided so much good housing in horrible, worse places, fixing them up for families to live in and making them decent again, because of the 1031. The problem with the Democrats is all they care about is they don't want nobody to get rich. But it's funny, if you look at their bank accounts, they ain't living too goddamn bad either, and they got all kinds of tricks of making money.
I tell you what, me and Ben we're more alike than I knew. So, I mean, I love hearing this.
With their writing their books and their appearances, and they get money from companies. Biden's son is getting like what, $500,000 a year for doing nothing but some Russian company. I don't know. I don't follow it too much.
It's a lot more than that.
I mean, they all are. You're right.
Listen, the laws were put in place to create. That's what America's about, growing. We all can grow. Anybody can grow in this country, but the problem is the Democrats want us to be socialists, and we don't want to be socialists, and we don't want to be communists. So, I don't know. All I can say is
I think
that,
you're right, and I think
they also want to take away the goddamn inheritance
sides.
tax. Why should my kids they want to take away the inheritance tax. Why should my kids have to pay tax on money that I already earned and paid tax on?
Yeah, they shouldn't.
Why? It makes no sense. Because they don't want to get off their ass and work for a living. They want to milk the system, and they don't want nobody to have shit. They want everybody to give to them. That's the problem.
They believe in socialism.
What do you think about deficit spending and reduction of taxes by Republicans now?
Say it again?
So obviously, we everyone in real estate, particularly, for me, the taxes look great since President Trump was in office. I'm not saying I agree with everything that he's done, but also deficit spending is huge. Eventually, we're going to have to pay for it, right? So I think that might be a problem on the Republican side that, eventually we're going to have to come to terms with.
It's really way out of my league and too complex. I always thought, we need to save money. I mean, it's an emergency, so I guess we're spending the money because we need to. It's an emergency, and worry about it later, I guess. They must, I don't know how much value our money even has anymore, but it's definitely still worth something to the rest of the world. I mean, I don't know how it works, but we need money. They're pumping money into the system. That's good. How we what I don't understand is we got companies that are worth almost $1 trillion now. I mean, let's face it. There should be, I do agree in some way that there should be some sort of cap, okay? I don't see the point why one human being needs to be worth more than $1 billion. I mean, honestly. Yeah. You can't spend all that damn money until you die. I don't get it. I mean, there should be some cap on there because now they're going into the hundreds of billions and trillions. It's nuts, And then, what I do hate is that all the companies that are making all these billions of dollars, they're doing it outside the country. That's the part I hate. I want everything to be built here. I don't want to build a goddamn thing in any other country until you can try to build it here. Build it here. We're going to save the money on shipping, I'm sure, because it's already here. But build it here. If it costs more, too bad. Put everybody to work in America.
Yeah, I tell you what, I couldn't agree more with Ben. And, you know, because I have companies where I actually manufacture. Listen, I'm a big Trump fan, and I can tell you that he lowered our payroll tax. He lowered our taxes already, so people are paying less income tax on tax on their income. So that was it. Everybody got a raise almost immediately. Almost everybody got a raise. But the other thing is China just robs us blind. And I'm telling you, even like this mic stand and some of these things, all this, I guarantee you, all this crap is made in China now. And it used to be made here. They copy our designs. They copied a company. Bridgeport made a lathe, and a company copied their lathe. I mean, this is a big, expensive piece of machine. Normally $55,000. They copied that thing right down to. There was like some kind of like scratches. There was like a cut that was never intended. I think it was part of a flywheel part thing. They copied an imperfection. They copied a defect because that they don't make their own stuff. They just copy and sell for less, and they don't make as well either. It's not as well. It's not as well made. And so and the other thing is that the worst part is, let's say I created and invented this thing. I make it here. I'm making decent money. Well, I go to mail one to China. Well, they're going to charge them 25% more than what I'm charging the customer for. That's the tariff. So it makes our stuff more expensive to go over there. It's better made, but it makes it even more expensive to go into their country. Then what do? They'll order one. They'll copy the thing. They'll make it look the same. Then they'll come over here. We have subsidies that allow them to ship into our country cheaper than we can ship to theirs. The product gets here, and then they are selling basically my product that I bought, that I designed, and they're selling it to my customers at a fraction of what, sometimes even less than I can even make it for. So thank God for Trump, because he's leveling the playing field. We're able to compete more again, and I'm totally with what Ben says. Keep the jobs here in the USA. Have it made here, even if it costs a little more. The money will circulate here, because all the money that gets made off products like this, the profit goes to China, and then it just comes back here, and they keep buying up more of our land and everything else, and that's our scum politicians selling us out. Anyways, enough politics. Let's listen to Ben.
I want to see every single body that can work in America working. Then there won't be so many criminals. Then there won't be so many drug addicts. And then everybody will have something to go. Kids out of high school, you got nowhere to go. If you don't want to go to college, you got nowhere to go. At least have a regular job making in a factory at $15-20 an hour available. For people that don't want to be educated.
Agreed.
Right.
Jobs are good every day. And then if everybody's working, they ain't got time to be bullshitting and doing bad shit. And a lot of kids grow up, they're criminals because they walk out their door. That's the only opportunity out there.
There's no employment.
Build some damn factories here. Don't build shit outside the country until everybody's working in America. That's what we need to do. That'll solve so many of our problems, and you'd be surprised.
I agree. Put everybody to work.
And improve schools. Those are the two things we got to do. That's all we got to worry about. Better schools, and make sure everybody has a job. And then it won't be
Mallah for president. Shit. What about it? Think about it, all right?
Yeah, I'd last a day. They'd kill me.
Listen, the final question I have for you. So obviously the unemployment boost, the $600 federal stimulus or addition to state unemployment benefits is expiring at the end of the month. And a lot of us in the multifamily sector are kind of concerned, or at least curious about what's going to happen in August collections. So just curious about how your collections look and what your thoughts are on August and September collections.
Collections on apartments have been stable. They've been doing pretty good. I don't know if they're going to pass it, but I heard that they're going to extend the unemployment benefits, but they're going to lower it down to $400 on top of the typical $285 you get. So I think what they're going to do now is their plan is, well, we just take it away. Everybody's going to be screaming, and why don't we just kind of taper it off? And then hopefully as we taper it off, the whole situation with the illness will go away, and it'll all work out. But nobody knows what to do right now. That's the problem. Nobody knows what to do because they never experienced it.
Ben brought it up first.
Nobody knows what to do about anything. We're all just friggin' winging it right now. I'm winging it. Yep. The president's winging it. The CDC's winging it. Nobody knows. They don't know what to do. All we're doing is we're winging it, and hopefully this thing's going to pass. But I know one thing. We got to get rid of it. Everybody's got to just stop spreading it, and hopefully that's one logical way of getting rid of it. So we all get back to work, and we all can start making money and live happily ever after.
Definitely. Don't make this a political thing. Everybody needs to wear a mask, and it's for their health and everyone else's health.
Thank you very much. You're absolutely right. Let's all work together. Forget about all the other problems in the world we got right now. They don't mean nothing. We can't do nothing about it. They mean a lot, but we can't do nothing about all the other problems we got right now. Right now, we got to focus on not being shut down, operating, people not getting sick, people not dying, and everybody living in a normal, functioning society. That's what we got to work towards. I don't care about what color. I don't care about this, that, whatever. We can't do nothing right now except all together, work together to be healthy at least, so then we can move on and solve all our other problems. All right.
And then part of being healthy is fixing Brooklyn Mike's teeth. Let's work on that.
I don't know if that's possible.
Agenda.
That may take an act of God. Okay, I don't know. We might need lightning to come strike him in his mouth. But we're going to try. We're going to hopefully find a
We need
dentist
an executive order.
that's willing to look at him, because most dentists say that they don't have enough insurance coverage to take on a patient like that. We might have to find somebody who specializes with hyenas or tigers or something. I don't know. All right, you take care. Thanks for a great call. Appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hyena! That should be a new nickname for you.
So, he was talking about that his apartments are stabilized, right? And that's because the government came in and took care of paying the rent. So, and that's one of the things that concerned me is I call it the Band-Aid, right? I was worried about when the Band-Aid wore off, and the Band-Aid is starting to wear off, and that's, but hopefully they'll just give money to people that are out of a job, because I just only want to help the people that are out of work. And primarily that's service industry, although I understand the airlines laying off, tens of thousands of people now. So it could get worse, but I think we're going to have a real fast recovery after the election. Things get politicized, but after the election, then it's in both sides' best interest that the economy does well. But right now, what he's talking about, he's got big gyms. I've got gyms too. I've got some different things, and they are working. And some are suffering. Some got some aid. I have, like manicurists and barbers and stuff like that. They were hurting for a while because they couldn't be close enough. They couldn't cut anybody's hair. Well, now they're cutting hair. And like I said, I was on a United Airlines flight the other day. We were packed in like sardines. So I do think a lot of this stuff is political going around the country, because if they're going to let people pack in a plane, they can certainly let people sit at tables in a restaurant and eat normal how they were. If somebody sounds sick, they can ask them to leave. But that's on that. Let's get back to Ben.
Hyena! All right, what else we got? You got anything? You got nothing?
Hey, we appreciate.
You got nothing?
We appreciate all the super chats you're getting. If I don't get to it, sorry, but
We need the super chats because Aaron needs new golf balls.
hey, shout out to Parasailing the Pass.
Ooh.
Parasailing the Pass.
Parasailing the pass.
John's Pass.
Be careful. The sand is creeping in. Don't run into the goddamn sand that I can't get rid of over there. Make sure you stay in the water.
I've added your Clearwater Beach Hotel logo to our main page of our website. If you click it, then it takes you to the hotel.
Thank you very much. Who's that? The guy that does windsurfing, windsurfing, or what?
Yes, at John's Pass.
Yeah, you're too chicken to try it.
I'll do it. Sign me up.
You won't even sail a damn kite on a beach.
That's okay. It's hard.
Anyway, we need money for Aaron to get golf balls so he can find them after he hits them. We need a signal device. Why don't you invent a golf ball that throws
With
out
the
a
chip?
signal? Yeah, chip it.
With the chip in it.
Hello?
Hey, it's Ben. How are you today? How can we help you?
Hey, good. My only question is, should I save for currently I can afford a 3 to 4plex in my area. Should I save more and buy maybe like a 10 unit and up, or get something smaller? I've heard online and people say, it's usually around the same headache owning a 4plex or, a 10 unit. So it's worth it to save a little more and buy a bigger property. What do you think?
I think, have you ever done it before?
I come from a family from real estate investors, so I have like really good.
Have you ever
mentors,
owned? Have you ever owned any real multifamily property?
A home.
No. Huh?
No,
Okay.
multifamily.
Then,
No.
listen. You got to start and build your way up. Yes. Once you know how to run a 2 or 3 or 4 unit building, then yes, it's not much more trouble running 10 or 20 or 100. But you got to go up the ladder. I wouldn't just start off with something too big. I would definitely try to get that triplex or fourplex under your belt, feel really good about that, and hopefully make money on it, and then go out and move up into something bigger. But
Okay.
I started with a duplex.
Right.
All right.
And would you have started with
I
something
did
bigger,
too.
or you
I couldn't afford nothing bigger. I had to start where I could afford. It was only within my means to buy that duplex, so I bought the duplex.
So like what he's saying, I kind of I actually made some illegal duplexes basically, but I made more money that way, and I sold them that way as well. But whatever, you guys do what you want to do, but you try to squeeze every cent out of a property that you can, and that's really can be sometimes the best opportunity, and that's what I look for. I look for opportunities. I can, repurpose a property in a way that somebody else is probably not thinking that they can. And so repurposing, refurbishing gets expensive, but what he said about starting with a small place, look, I jumped from, I just did lots and lots of little deals. I did land, I did houses, I did, commercial buildings were some of the first things I did. And then when I found an opportunity, I jumped in and I bought a 13 and a 21 unit, 34 unit apartment building. I made millions of dollars on that. And then I bought a 24 unit next door to that place. Also made a nice big fat chunk on that. And what'll catch you off guard is the amount of maintenance. Okay, the amount of maintenance. You know, kids tag things, little kids, you know, write gang signs, and then people think that, you know, they imagine an adult's coming over there writing this, but it's an 8-year-old kid. And one time I had a kid that was tagging gang signs with a marker on my laundry machines, and it wouldn't come off. You know, you couldn't scrub it off, you couldn't take it off with gas, nothing. I mean, it would ghost it, it'd lighten it, but you'd have these gang signs. And I mean, I'm going crazy. Everybody's freaked out thinking there's gangs, you know, hanging around the property. So one day I jumped into the dumpster, and I'm just in a big old dumpster, and I'm just digging and digging and digging. And I go, what the hell? I think I was in the dumpster because I thought sometimes what'll piss you off as a landlord, somebody moves out in a neighborhood and they bring all their crap over and they throw it in your dumpster, in front of your dumpster, behind your dumpster. Well, and I've gone over my pickup and thrown everything out of my dumpster, put it in the pickup, open the mail that's within their trash, and I see a couple of letters. Now I know where all that crap came from, and I go over and I throw all that shit back in their front yard. And last time I did it, and the reason it was last time I did it is I did it, and somebody said, "Why are you throwing all that crap in my yard?" And what it was is his tenant moved out and dumped all their crap in my dumpster, and I took all that crap, put it in my truck, and I came back and threw it back in that yard, and we were both victims. But anyways, the guy, all of a sudden, this guy had probably given the tenant back his money for having the place cleaned out, and now all of his crap's been returned to the yard because he illegally dumped it in my dumpster. Anyways, stuff like that happens. But everybody still enjoying this format, this moving fast enough for you, Anne-Marie? Are you working and just listening to this? Hey, Calvin, how you doing? Glad you're here. Liam, I'm glad you figured out that computer and that you're getting in here. Yeah, I try not to get political, but if somebody comments on it, I'll get into it. But let's not, listen, I don't care if you are as left-wing as ever or right-wing as ever. You know what? Everybody, let's just make some money in real estate. We can share that. We can share that, right? All right. Hey, Lou, what do you got? Hey, good. Hey, Lou, I'm gonna do a. Oh, good, Ann. Ann is always working. Anne-Marie is always working. I love it, and me too. And but I love it because really people, And by the way, my audiobook has been submitted. We'll have an audiobook here before long. But really, like Anne-Marie's doing, you could just listen to any of my old videos if you can stand to. Some of them are. Sometimes I too many uhs and ums and, depending on what I'm doing. Because I actually am working while I talk to you. Yeah, I've been checking email, and I'm waiting for this offer to come in too. But, yeah, thanks, Enrique. But, look, so I'm going to keep doing these things where we go in and we listen in to people that I respect, or sometimes not so much. But please like, share, subscribe, everybody. But I'm looking forward. We're going to do another Zoom meeting. I have a new group of mentees. Supposed to start on the August 15th. I may have to push it back a week. I don't know. But we're going to do another Zoom meeting. That may be an informal with them. Of course, everybody that's a Gold 1 member, and all of you know you have my cell phone number. If you don't have it, look in your email, because I sent all of you my personal cell number with instructions to send me back your name with Gold 1 behind it, so that if you need critical support, now we know it's critical support, any of you new people that are signing up with me, my mentorship program that people are already in, they understand that this is for critical support, not general, okay? Because you're going to be an expert by the time you get done with the course, and after you get a little, you start moving along and start making things happen. But I'm super excited. If you just got in here, Chris, who's a mentee, in the class, he approached me this morning. I said, let's meet. We met. I met the owner of the property. I got the deal agreed to. There was an agent in the mix. I'm waiting for the contract. In fact, I'm going to look right now. And I'm like the worst. I'm not patient at all. I don't see it yet. Anyways, I love DocuSign. If you don't know what DocuSign, it's where they take the contract and then you can basically sign it from any device. And and I have to remember, I'm in. That's the other problem in my building that I'm in. Hey, I got it. Look at, you can't see it, but I got the DocuSign right here, and because I tell you guys, so I'm going to let you guys see that I walk the talk. I don't let. Remember, I told you the biggest thing that costs me money is hesitation. You don't hesitate. Remember, he who hesitates gets left at the starting gate. So I'm checking the price. Oh, geez, what on earth? She bumped this price up a little bit. All right. Okay, look, you guys can listen in on this call because it's not what it's supposed to be. Gosh, if I can even use it. Let's see. All right, so look, what I did is I just got the contract, and it is exactly $10,000 more than it's supposed to be. Hey, Rhonda, this is Tom. Hey, Rhonda, we got an issue. Our deal was 3% on top of $414,000, and it looks like you've added 6% or more. Okay, so if she walks away with 414, you've got a commission of 12,400, right? Something like that. Okay, yeah, I want to sign it, and I want to. Yeah, I can give you more than 2 minutes. Just how about just throw me a text real quick, just giving me the breakdown of the money, if would that be okay? But I'll sign this thing if you're right. Okay, thank you. Okay, bye. Best to text though. Bye. Okay, so the agent's telling me that what happened is the seller wants to net, and so I think what it is they've added the cost. In other words, they're giving me all the costs: the escrow, the title cost, and so I was expecting this to be at 426, and it's 436. Listen, 10 grand ain't gonna make the difference. I'm just pointing it out to her. I'm gonna sign this thing, but I'm gonna let her send me a text explaining her numbers real quick. Cool. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I'll share more on that. But what I was going to say is we're going to do a Zoom meeting. We're going to do a Zoom meeting after I get this document signed. Maybe we'll do it today, but we're going to make sure that the new people. Also, I'm guardian of my 84-year-old mother who has dementia, and she's also writing me right now. So I'm going to have to give her a chat, too. But, hey, we'll finish this thing. But what I'm getting at is when you buy real estate like I do, okay, 10 grand is a 2.5% increase on this deal. It's insignificant to the amount of money that I'm going to make, right? So I think I'm going to make, whatever. 25% on this thing or 30% on this thing. So now I'm going to make 27.5%. No big deal, okay? But it is what it is. I'll deal with it. Yeah. Anyways, this is a win-win to a degree, but it works. It works. I can't wait to show you. So, all right, let's get back to Ben. Okay, Calvin, I did sign up for the mentorship program. Yeah. You made the cut. You're in. Don't worry. I've seen your name, Cal. But I apologize. You hadn't heard anything. The problem is that I'm a real estate investor. I'm not a salesman. I'm actually busy trying to re-spend my money right now. But I've been trying to keep an eye on you. You should be able to get back into the owner's area or the members area and go into the forum and talk to some of the folks that are in this very, very chat right now. And, they can tell, you can answer some questions. We're going to start the classes here the 15th, and then we'll do a Zoom afterwards. And a lot of people that have been in the previous class will also come in, and they will be able to, they're going to be talking about the money they made. You're going to see people that have already done things and made things happen. Believe me, I guarantee you, I'm going to be, as far as mentors on the web go, I'm going to have more testimonials per person, per member, than anybody. And mine are going to be real, 100% real. All right, let's get back to Ben here. And Calvin, welcome. Liam, Anne Marie, Lou. We got a lot of people in here. I can't even read them all. Heckmer, and a lot of people in here that already have finished the mentorship. I mean, you're in there still for a year. Everybody's still in the group for a year. And, the renewal, don't worry. It ain't going to be nothing like the initial. We're becoming family, right? We're becoming family. So let's watch a little more of this. And let's see.
I mean, but I'm glad I did because, but I already had management experience before it. I worked as a property manager for other people making them money before I made my own money. So that's, I wasn't really too afraid of getting into anything. But definitely start with something small and then work your way up, okay? Because it's the way it works.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right?
Thanks for the advice.
Good luck. Take care.
Yep, you too.
Eat your dinner. What else you got? We got no calls?
Shout out to Sahil Rays for, I don't know what currency that is.
It better not be that damn McKay currency. It might explode.
Oh, it's $2.
All right.
Sorry, it's $2. Best personal finance.
You've been out in the sun too long today, haven't you? The sun in the sun.
Sweet. Ben, please make next couple videos on your triple net properties.
Triple net. There's nothing to do with triple net. I mean, it depends. You're talking about single triple net or a combination of like a shopping center. They're all triple nets. But the best triple net, I manage all my single net triple nets myself. I don't need no help. I got the Walgreens.
Me
I got
too.
the DJs. I got the Home Depot. I ain't got to do nothing. And those are the best properties to own. I've been looking for some more too. But you got to be careful because I also screwed up. I bought a sweet tomatoes, and the sweet tomatoes went rotten. And the place is sitting empty. Thank God it didn't hurt me too much, but it's rotten tomatoes now, sitting there with an empty building. I got to pay the taxes. I got to pay the mortgage. I got to pay maintaining the grounds, and I got nothing coming in. Hello, it's Ben.
Hello.
Hey, it's Ben. How are you today? How can we help you?
Good. How's everything?
Not good.
All right, so I'm going to look at the text that you sent me, Rhonda. You did send me one, right? Okay, so what I see is $414,000 for her, and $414, that's a $22,000. That's $22,000 to cover everything. Sorry, I'm trying to read through this at the same time. Okay, you got $13,000 as your commission. Oh, you're not basing that on the 414 then. You're basing that on, you're including your commission. Correct?
Right. So Sherry, so the seller, she says that she wants to walk away with a minimum of 414.
I know. I guess what I'm looking at here, you've got taxes prorated. Do you have me paying her taxes too up until the date of close or not?
I don't have you paying her taxes. These are her closing costs.
Oh, her closing costs.
Yes.
Oh, I see. And then you're giving those to me on top of the 414.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
see. Golly. Because you realize, she said you were going to sell this for $440. That was going to be the asking price. And if you sold it for $440, right? Because she's, okay. Well, you'd have to sell it for. You would have to probably sell it for $465,000 for her to get this much. You realize that?
I understand what you're saying, but so for not going on to the market and not chancing that we could go into multiple offers like every other listing is doing, and
Right.
having it rise exceed what was listed at, she wanted to be able to walk away with 414. She was very adamant about that, a minimum of 414.
Well, can you do me would you be willing to just take 1,000 off your commission, since you're making it on the added cost that I'm absorbing from her? You follow me?
So no, yeah, the commission is my broker's, and he won't. I've worked for him for 7 years, and I've asked him several times, and no, he won't.
Okay, well, you understand what I'm saying. I'm paying a commission on top of the added expense, so that's okay. All right, look, we still got a deal. I'm gonna sign this and turn it around, and if you would, please have her sign it right away, and get me a copy of the signed deal, and then I'll open this up Monday, or I'll take a check down there, or you can, or I'll meet you, but I appreciate you writing this out and explaining it to me.
And I'm actually going to email the executed contract to the title company, and I'll definitely copy you on it.
Okay, so you'll send signed copies from both buyer and seller, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, and I'll get a check down there unless you want me to give it to you.
No, yeah, please, Monday you can drop the earnest money off to the title company. And the $100 option check, if it's easier for you, you can just drop it off at Sherry's, or you can drop it off to the title company and I'll pick it up, or whatever works best for you.
Okay, sounds good. I'll get this thing signed right now, and then just let me know when she's got hers signed, and then I can put this to rest, and I'll get back to work. And
Okay, sounds good.
all right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
Bye now. Bye. Okay. All right. So, anyways, I'll explain more later, but I still got the deal. And you saw, it works. It works. Did you guys get to hear part of that? I'm just curious. All right. That's me making a deal while I'm talking to you, because I have to, because I don't, like I say, you hesitate, you're going to lose it.
Good.
So I got a quick question. I'm 19 years old, and I've got around 160,000 liquid to invest. I also just got approved for an SBA loan of 150,000. However, I do live in New York, so properties here don't really go for anything under $1 million where I live.
Now I'm
So I live a
signing.
little bit further out, but I'd rather be close to my property, things like that. Where do you suggest I look? Where do you suggest I start?
What part of New York are you in?
On the Long Island.
So, I mean, the further you go out, there is properties do get cheaper, right? What are you going to do? You go to college, or are you working? What are you doing with your life?
I work.
What do you do?
I do e-commerce and marketing.
Okay. So, you plan on staying where you're at, in that area right now where you're at?
Yeah, I'm doing anywhere. I'm making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. Right
That's
now.
a lot of money, man. A lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
can keep saving up more money until you can hit that million mark, or you have to get on the Long Island Railroad and start going into a part of areas that aren't as expensive. Go to Ronkonkoma. You ever heard of Ronkonkoma?
Nope.
Look it
What
up.
was that called?
In New Jersey.
Ronkonkoma. Even the name's funny. But listen, you're going to have to just go out. You're going to have to keep, you have to do like, it's like what they call a radius. You got to get out there in that bigger radius because of where you choose to live, and you're going to have to start traveling outside your comfort zone and look for opportunities where aren't so populated, and you can make some money. Upstate, Long Island, I don't know, wherever you start seeing prices getting cheaper.
What about trying to get a mortgage?
You go to a bank. You just said you got SBA loan approval, right? SBA loan, what they approve you for? Normally, you got to have some sort of plan to get SBA loan.
Yeah, I got 150,000 from them.
To do what?
For what? 3.5%, I believe, over 30 years.
For what? What did they loan you the money for?
Where are they going to loan me money? Whatever. I had an LLC, so I guess they're giving out money on pretty.
Did they already give you the money? Did they already give you the money?
Yep.
So you got 150 grand from them. You got 160,000 your own money, or is that 160 all the money you got?
Yes, that's off my own money that I'm willing to
So
invest.
you got $310,000? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably even 350 if I put
Well, then go buy the $1 million property. If you can find a deal that's worth buying for $1 million, you got 300 grand down to put down on it.
Yep, leverage
Stay in your
it.
own neighborhood.
Right.
You can do that. You got the money, but that's a lot of money to tie up. I go out and start looking in other areas. You're a young guy, you can travel away, go find yourself a 4-unit building somewhere, or whatever you feel like you like. But you got to go where you fit in. You got to get in where you fit in.
Right,
But you can buy $1 million property tomorrow with 300 grand.
And you're just saying it's too big of a risk for me because I've never done this before.
Hell no. If you've never done it before, you want to start small. Go
Right.
find a duplex,
Right.
and then go get an FHA loan if you can. And then, if they'll loan to you, see if FHA, you don't have to put hardly any money down, keep the 300 grand in the bank.
Right.
Try to always spend as little as you can, borrow as much as you can, but, go out there. And
Okay,
find
now I'm
areas
letting
plus
her
areas
know
cheaper.
by
You
text
can buy
it's
something that makes
signed.
sense, cash flows.
So for her to
Go to
grab
Far
it,
Rockaway.
turn it around,
You got the
and
balls to go to
get
Far
the other
Rockaway.
side signed.
You got the balls to go to Far Rockaway?
For Rockaway, there's great properties out
Oh,
there.
yeah? Go Beach 43rd Street where I grew up. I bet you the shack's there still. And go to Far Rockaway. Rent to Section 8 or something.
What
county are you in? What
I
county?
live in 5 towns. I live in Cedar.
Well, then you're right near Far Rockaway. You drive your little self across the border and go over there and make sure you bring a vest and a gun and get in there and buy some real estate.
It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, you telling me, are the projects still there? Are the projects still there?
Good, got it. I got one down.
Projects
Maybe.
Possibly, I don't know.
I don't believe anything's done till it's signed.
Stay your little ass in Cedar Heights where you belong. Go to the freaking Lawrence to the bowling alley and have a nice night. Adios. I hate people from Nassau County. Rich bastards. I'm just kidding. Take care. Good luck to you. What else you got, for a fool?
So yeah, that was good advice. I was listening while I was working. So he's got a young guy. It sounds like he's got about $350,000. And again, it's good to have a little cash in the bank always. You know, and believe me, I've leveraged to my teeth, you know, when I was younger, and then had things get tough, and I just worked harder, and I, you know, just did I worked hard. I used my money that I made, it wasn't much at the time, just to make everything meet, and kept the overhead low. Always keep your overhead low. You know, it's like I say, you know, we had a guy here the other day bought his first house. He bought his second house first, meaning he overspent on his first investment for his home. And so then all of a sudden he didn't have any extra capital for creating more capital and having money on hand. And so he reverted back. He bought a cheaper house later and moved into that one and rented his more expensive home out to somebody else, which is a smart thing to do. But it would have been better if he did it the other way. Let's rip through the rest of this, and I'll get to some questions. And they talk about a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily real estate, somewhat entertaining, but I mean, I may push ahead through it. But let's just rip through it real quick. I did like that he did talk about the 1031's, and that's where he said he started. He said he bought a lot of crap property, but he kept buying more and more and more. He was turning them. And so, like he said, you know, with Ronkonkoma area, it's funny because when Giuliani cleaned up New York, I got a cab ride from Ronkonkoma. There's an airport in Ronkonkoma. And what I do is I get off the plane in New Jersey in Ronkonkoma, and I take a train down to Penn Station in New York. But I have to get a cab from the airport to the Metro Rail. And and so I told the guy, I said, you guys must love it that Giuliani cleaned up New York. And he said, hell no, that son of a bitch. He goes, he kicked out all the crap out of New York, and he goes, then now they're here in his city, in New Jersey. And so I thought it was funny, Giuliani did such a good job cleaning up New York that they didn't put up with anything, and they pushed all the troublesome, the gangs, the thugs, they pushed them all out of New York. Well, now they're coming back. And and this isn't political, but now they're all coming back, and you got the mayor there begging the wealthy to stay, but wealthy people will not stay in an unsafe area. They're gone. And so is their income, and so is the income tax revenue. And so, anyways, that's what's happened. That's my experience with Ronkonkoma too. But let's rip through the rest of this, okay?
What do you give me dirty looks for? Am I doing something wrong? Give me the looks my wife gives me now. Like I'm doing something wrong. Hey, somebody want to see if somebody thinks they don't think Carla's still around anymore, huh? You think she left me?
She's
Who the hell's that by my damn beach? Get away from my beach. A private beach, goddammit. It's Bel Air Beach.
Let me know if there's echo, guys.
$4.99. Speaking about 1031, is there no property tax? Is there no tax on property sale until later? When is later? Will my kids inherit the tax? I'm confused.
Okay, here it goes with 1031. You ready? Oh, you sell the property, you get the money, you put it in a 1031 exchange account. Okay, you take it out, you put it on another property you gotta buy. End of subject. Basically it ends when you die. All right, when you die, you get what you call your wife. Only your wife or spouse, husband or wife, gets what they call, providing the Democrats don't get elected, stepped up basis. Meaning, your low basis that you had with all those gains, your spouse will inherit that property where it gets stepped up to the value that it is that day. Meaning, they can sell that property and not have any gain. Mm-hmm. Keep the money and not pay tax.
How it should be.
The only way you're ever going to get out of it is to die. It's like the mafia. Once you're in 1031, you're in for life. So, otherwise you can pay the tax. But if you want to keep deferring the tax, the government says, well, we'll let you defer the tax up until the point you ain't here no more. Because the government ain't going to hell or heaven to get you. They ain't going to collect from you then. They already know that. So, and then your wife says, well, what do I know? And they say, okay, you can have the money. So basically, your spouse is the benefit when you die of not having to pay the tax on the 1031 gains.
Okay, so everything he said is correct. And here's the other thing. Like you said, so when he dies, he made his fortune. I die, I made my fortune. So one of the things that happens is family members get inheritance, right? Well, and you'll see in my book, and just through the shows, I mean, I've made a small fortune just on inheritance, other people's inheritance. People inherit real estate and they sell it too cheap. And I'm making damn sure in my will that my property cannot be sold too cheap. I literally will be controlling the estate from the grave to a degree with the way I've left my will. But I don't want all my hard work to be squandered. And believe me, I've seen it. I've done it. I made a couple $1 million on one piece of property, 5 sisters that hated each other. And where if they'd got along, they could have made an extra $1 million instead of handing it to me. But it is what it is. So let's get back to Ben.
Your kids, they'll still have to pay inheritance tax. So, what else you got? Oh, the phone's ringing. Carla, when's dinner ready?
Hello.
Hello, it's Ben. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing, Ben?
I'm hanging in there. What's up?
Not much, man. I just had a scenario on what would you do in my situation. So, unfortunately, a few years ago, my mother passed away. And unfortunately, a few months ago, my father passed away.
I'm sorry.
So, thank you. My father, I have my home. I have a duplex. That's mine. But back in the early 80s and up until like maybe 98, my father and three of his brothers started buying property. I'm from Oakland. So same situation you were in. So they started buying property. And I guess my uncle just got comfortable and just said, hey, we'll stop here instead of growing. So after 17 doors, they stopped. My father wanted to keep going. For some reason, he listened to them and just stopped too. But now that I own my father's share, I want to sell, obviously. I want to sell. I want to be on my own. But they don't want to sell. So what would you do in that situation?
Tell them to buy you out. So they do that?
They won't buy me out.
They won't go to the bank, get a loan, and buy you out?
They don't need a loan. They got money. Trust me. They got money.
Tell them, listen, my father busted his butt. He was down with you guys. He's gone. I want to move on my life. Are you living in Oakland? Are you living in Oakland?
Born and raised in Oakland.
Are you living there now?
I'm standing in front of Allendale Elementary School right now.
Do you want to stay there? How much money are we talking?
Well,
how much money are we talking about? 17 doors could be a fortune.
Yes, it's good money.
How much? Are they giving you monthly? Who's running the properties, number one? Who's running them right now?
Who's running them? We are. We every year, so it's 4 owners. So let's say it's me and 3 of them. So right now, one of them is running it 1 year. The following year, I'll run it. The following year, somebody else will run it.
Listen, unfortunately, I'm sorry to say, you have legal right to those properties, right? You're 1/4 owner, correct?
Correct.
Well, that's the problem with family. It's too emotional.
Yep.
You want to move on with your life. You want your money. You want your hands on that property. Your father intended for you to have that interest in those properties. Well, it's now your interest.
He did it for us.
And how old are you?
I'm 34.
Well, you're a 34-year-old man. Maybe you don't want to stay in friggin' Oakland the rest of your damn life. So,
it's interesting. I had a similar situation. This is a kid that's inherited some money, or he owns. I tell this when I go to buy property from older people. I say, listen, you don't want to leave real estate to multiple partners. They're going to fight over it, and that's exactly what's happened. This kid is going to be in a fight over real estate. I didn't quite understand the deal that he had, but he's got an inherited interest, but the other partners don't want to sell. And I had a similar situation. It was actually with those same 5 sisters. And what I did is I went to the one sister that needed money, and I said, I will buy your position. I'm going to buy your position. And so we wrote a contract where I was buying her position, and it made the other. There's actually 5 sisters. One was dead, but I bought one of them out. What I did is I gave her I said, I'll give you $1,000 a month to take your position on this property, assuming it's worth X, and then we made a deal. And then I wrote the other sisters and I said, hey, I'm the new one in the family. What are we going to do with our property? And they were terrified. But they weren't helping their sister out. They didn't like her. They didn't care that she needed money. And so ultimately it motivated them all to, they didn't particularly like each other anyways, but they sold. And that moved it along. So it's funny, I should talk to this kid because I'm not too far away from where he's at, if I understand what he said. So if that particular kid that called in, if he wants to, just email me, Tom@FlipAnythingUSA.com. I'll help you fix that thing. Okay, let's take a couple questions real quick here. Tom, what about the 3% refi tax in New York? I don't know. I didn't even know that existed till you told me in another post. And you know what? That just shows you how desperate New York is. Even our government, to be honest, our government, if they see you like moving a large chunk of cash, like if you want to go buy some property in the Bahamas, they're like, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why is this money leaving the country? They don't like it. And New York doesn't like it either, because what they're doing is they're trying to trap you in New York. They're trying to trap you. They don't want you to leave. And if your money's leaving, that's kind of an indication that you're going to go buy something new, right? Yeah, it's ridiculous bullshit. It disgusts me, that's something a politician would create, not a worker. And so that's what he's talking about is they got some sort of crazy refi tax. And you can explain the details, but it sounds like if you want to refi and pull your equity out of your property, there's a 3% premium you got to pay to do that, to take your equity out of your property. How sick and stupid is that? You're already... are they trying to force you to sell? I don't know. But then you can, I would sell. You know what I would do? If I had property in New York and I had that 3% thing, I'd probably sell the property completely, and I'd do a 1031, and I defer the purchase right into a new state and be done with it. Okay. And somebody asked about taking calls. I actually can take calls. I have my studio here, we got a Bluetooth thing. So what we'll do is that phone number that I gave you guys, you know what? I don't have that phone with me. You know what I'll do is I'll grab that phone that's dedicated for the mentorship, and what I'll do is maybe we'll use that number, or I can call if anybody wants to be on. I'll call you and we'll share a call. But I got it going. There's a system in front of me that allows me to push a button, and we can be live with phone call. So I'll work on that too. All right. Let's see. Great news. Thanks. Okay. So you guys appreciate the commentary over the commentary, right? You're good with this. This. Like I say, I love Ben. I think he's got great advice. I think between the two of us, I can fill in some blanks, and actually he fills in some blanks. I learned a little something from him today. Again, we're both self-made investors, starting with zero, but we got where we got different ways. All right. Let's go back. Let's get it going again.
Maybe you want to take that money. Who knows? Whatever you want to do with it. It's your right. It's your life. So unfortunately, there's only one piece of advice I can give you. If they're not willing to buy you out, okay, and do the right thing, then I'm sorry to say you need to consult an attorney. I hate to say it, but, you need to tell them, listen, I don't want to be stuck here with these 17 properties like you and my father did your whole lives. I want to move on, and I got a right to do that. My father left it to me. I'm a grown man. I got rights to live my life any way I want. He left it to me. He wanted me to have the value in it. He didn't want me to be stuck here my whole life like him. So listen, either play fair, do the right thing, figure out how much the properties are worth, figure out what the equity is, write me a check. I'll take care of my taxes, and adios, amigos. Or
I'm even giving them a discount on it.
Well,
I'm even giving them a discount.
Then you know what you need to do? You gotta say, listen, then you tie my hands. You're not gonna control my life, stuck here, tied to you three old guys with a bunch of properties in Oakland. You're not gonna tie my life up. I'm gonna live my life, and I'm not letting you guys run it. I'm sorry.
Now, the only thing I'd add to that is as a father myself of 4 kids, and like if I died tomorrow, my kids ain't going to have access to that cash. They're not. I got 2 boys, 17, and I got girls in their early 20s. And I don't have any, I think they're reasonable, but the bottom line is those old guys might feel they're protecting this kid, or maybe that the father told those old guys, said, hey, listen, I'm leaving this to my son. I'm fine with him taking the income from the asset, but I don't want it to be squandered. And because this kid could very well, if he got bought out, he could be parted from his money very quickly. As I've told you, I've bought so many properties so far under market as a result of people selling their inheritance too hastily, and then they squander it. They throw it into stocks or something they don't know shit about, and then they lose it all, or most of it. And it's a hard lesson to learn, and it's a terrible opportunity to miss. Like I said, I told you the other day, there's a guy came in and he bought $5.8 million worth of real estate for $160,000, and it's because the kids that inherited the ranch hired a dodo out of Century 21 who didn't do her work. The agent didn't do her work, and he was the only one at the sale. And they took an offer of $1,000 an acre. It was worth well over $40 an acre, and it was 160 acres, $40,000 an acre. Okay, so anyways, let's keep going.
If you don't play ball with me, then I'm going to try to do it legally, and then that's it. You put them on notice. You can't let other people control your life. Your father left that money to you. You're
Delta, I
free.
probably will be doing more live
You do what the
streams.
hell you
I've been
want.
doing a lot of them lately. It's better for me. I don't have to record me.
And it's in common?
Exactly. That's the last thing I want, for them to control my life.
10 o'clock Tuesdays, 10 o'clock Thursday during the week,
Like them, and they come from a different time.
and sometimes 7
That's the
p.m. and
last thing I
7
want.
p.m.
I want to grow in life.
Tuesdays and
I wanna
Thursdays.
You got to tell them, listen,
stay there.
listen, you got a family?
I don't. No.
Well, maybe one day you want one. Maybe one day you'll want one, and maybe you don't want to raise them.
Hey guys, please share and subscribe.
So
Help my channel. Give me a thumbs up and comment. Comment in the comments when we're done here. That helps too. They see that commentary activity. It helps bring the channel up and gets it more views.
I'm force you to buy me out.
Yeah.
All right?
I think that's what's in the
Better yet, do this. Say, listen to this. Figure out which properties equal the amount of money they owe you, and tell them just sign over these properties to me, and I'll sell these off, and you keep the other 14.
He could be a pain in the ass a lot of ways if he
There's
wanted to.
million different ways you can do it.
So you're saying pretty much like, hey,
Let's get out of here. I want to go a little faster.
Don't go
I'm
to
tired of
some
this subject.
schmuck that just practices law. I blew out the speakers. All right, Jupiter. I think we've been to Jupiter. Where is Jupiter? Is Jupiter down on the Atlantic Ocean side? I think, or is it down by the hillbilly heaven? What do they call it? Hillbilly Riviera or something? Jupiter. G-U.
Yeah, read it several times. Funny, buddy.
Jupiter.
I know how to spell it. Yeah.
Where is it?
It's on the Atlantic side.
The Atlantic side, which way? South or north?
Right. It looks like it's only about.
I guess that's Ben's son, his youngest son.
Don't like you. Sorry, Gordon. Wrong number. I hope we're not eating chicken again. I think so, but you need to verify that with an FHA lender. That's a very good question, but I wish I had to. Well, if you guys can't get the FHA to try to do a commercial loan, you probably have to put 20% down.
Yeah.
All right?
All right.
Well, good luck to you. I wish I could answer that question, but I don't want to give you misinformation.
It's all good.
All right, thanks. I only give my wife misinformation. What's for dinner, baby? All right. What else we got? Are we done? Are we finished? Are we over? You got more callers?
compared to landline.
Well, you got that Metro PCS, move up. How are you? How are you doing? How can we help you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking my call. So my wife and I just purchased a fourplex here in Portland, Oregon for $647,000. The mortgage cost...
Wait a minute.
Sounds terrible.
You just purchased a fourplex in Portland, Oregon for how much?
$647,000.
I only heard the 47. I said, there's no way. $647,000. Are they protesting around there
I
right
heard
now?
duplex.
No, that's really limited to one part of downtown. I only live a mile and a half away from all that, and unless I watch the news, I wouldn't even know what's going on.
I don't know. It looks pretty ugly on TV. But, all right. Well, good luck. Congratulations. So you got a fourplex. You paid a pretty penny. Now what's the story? You're not living in it, right? I'm sure.
No, I am going to be living in it. So we're supposed to close on the 4th of next month. The mortgage is about $3,500 a month, and currently 3 of the 4 units are renting out. My wife and I are moving into the rented unit. We bought it with a VA loan, so it was 0 down, which is really cool. The mortgage costs about $3,500. There's currently a property management company. They take between 8 to 10%.
Tenants. Now, let me ask you this. What's your gross rent that they collect every month? What are those 3 units paying?
So the 3 units are bringing in like 34 something, so roughly the same amount as the mortgage.
So basically, you're going to live there. The tenants are going to pay the mortgage, but you're going to be paying.
That ain't a good enough deal for me.
Maintenance, management.
Yeah, well, the taxes, is part of that $3,500 in the mortgage. So, but yeah, all the maintenance, all the, got to have an emergency fund. But the roof was done in 2019.
That's good. Your taxes are built in your mortgage. Your taxes are escrowed. Your taxes are escrowed into the mortgage payment.
Yeah, so the taxes, were factored into that $3,500.
Insurance too.
Insurance too. That's the whole shebang.
All right, so basically you're living there for practically free, which is good. That's smart. Okay.
Should I?
I mean, if it's only costing you $350 a month, I mean, me myself personally, I'd say, listen, I tell the tenants, listen, from now on, bring me to rent, and you got a problem, you need something fixed, I'll take care of it. If you feel you can handle that, because that's all the management company's doing, but now you got to pay your own water bill. Who's paying the water, sewer, and garbage right now? Management company?
Sure the tenants are.
Do they have their own meters?
Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Once I take over, I'll get a better.
You need to know before you take over.
Oh, God, he needs to know.
Who's paying what before you take over.
Yeah, I think this kid didn't even know who's paying the utilities. That doesn't sound good at all.
Have you looked at the actual expenses on this property? Because
Yeah, I know. So I think operating expenses were like $36,000 last year. So that puts it at like a 5.7 cap.
Listen, I'm talking about you moving in there. You got $3,500 a month coming in for the tenants. That's going to pay your mortgage. All right?
Right.
The rest of it's got to come out of your pocket. Now, you need to know, are the tenants paying their own water bill or is the landlord paying it? Are the tenants paying their own garbage or is the landlord paying it? I'm sure you got a monthly lawn service or something like that. You have no service like that? Nobody cuts the lawn or nothing?
I'll be cutting the lawn.
Who's cutting it now?
Currently, the current owner. He's got like 6 rental properties. He's a city bus driver. And he's doing all the maintenance, cutting the lawn. He's an inspiration.
All right. Well, I would advise you that you should try to, if you want, if the $350 is going to help you, number one, towards your expenses, that's a plus. Number two, it's going to give you experience if you do it yourself. Number three, if you screw up, you can always turn it back over to the property management company. But you should get the experience yourself, because you know what's going to happen a year from now? You know what's going to happen a year from now? You're going to move. How long does the VA say you're stuck living there? A year?
A year, but the bank, makes you wait for 2 years before they consider that as income. So realistically, also wait for at least 2.
It doesn't matter what the bank. Well, whatever. All right, so 2. In a couple of years, you're going to be renting that place out and moving on to bigger and better things. All right, but my advice is keep the $350 in your pocket because you're negative cash flow there. Okay, even though you're getting a free place to live and it has a value, I would put the $350 in my pocket. I would go to each tenant and say, hey, I'm the new owner, I'm the manager, whatever. Don't tell me the owner if you want. Just tell me the manager. I don't know, whatever.
I agree. I would not want to live next to my tenants. In fact, I have a lake house, and the property next to my lake house came up for sale, and I was going to buy it. And then I started thinking, you know what? I don't want to pull up here. And when I'm, because when I go to the lake house, I chill out. You've seen the view. You guys seen it. I've shared it with you. I don't want to pull up and be aggravated that my tenant isn't taking care of the property. So I didn't buy it for that reason alone. This kid's paying too much for this property, I think. I mean, he may be. It's not a terrible deal based on the numbers he's talking about, but I think he'd be better off just flipping it if he can and just realizing the money right away. And Ben's advice is also good. I mean, look, manage it yourself. You got to step up at some point. If you don't manage your own property in the beginning, you're not going to know. You're not going to know enough about management to hire a manager. Okay, you got to know. When you get into the real estate, you got to immerse yourself in it because you want to know where money can be saved, and you want to know how much work it is to manage a property. You want to know how much cost is involved in maintaining a property. And so by being the own manager, he'll have firsthand experience. And, because there's some management companies, guess what? They own an AC company. They own an electrician. Their brother's an electrician. And what they do is they call in the electrician. Well, and then they bill, whatever, $90 an hour, and maybe 30 of that is a kickback coming back to them in a roundabout way. So it's very important you be your own manager, just because otherwise you're letting somebody else hire trades, and he might be overpaying them and getting a kickback. This shit happens. So but I agree with Ben. Manage your own property. Absolutely on it. Absolutely on it. Let's keep listening to the rest. It's getting close to the end.
And
then we'll wrap up with questions.
This is where you pay your rent, or and then if you have a problem, contact me, and then try it on your own, and then get out there and mow that goddamn lawn.
All right. Thank you for the advice. Thanks for calling me. I really appreciate it, Ben.
All right, you have a great time. Good luck to you.
You too.
All right, is that it, man? We did it. We did another podcast, but nobody pays attention. We don't even get enough views to pay for a cup of coffee. Poor Rafael, he's starving over here.
I can relate to that, too.
Got 20,000 likes on the last video. That's good.
He gets a lot more than I do.
Maybe we should just do a bad teeth video every time from now on. Let's go around looking for people with bad teeth and try to get their teeth fixed.
It's fine, Denzel. I can do it.
Okay, anything else from you?
Nope.
Not then. Lady, I'll be your dentist. You don't watch out. Bang, zoom to the moon. All right, adios, amigos. I'm going to have a wonderful dinner prepared by my lovely wife. Peace out.
Right on. Thanks, Ben. So, look, that was cool. I always enjoy doing a review on Ben Mallah. You guys, I did one yesterday, kind of critical on Grant Cardone, and I do it on others as well. But, yeah, he's a gregarious guy. That's the beauty of being rich, is you can do whatever the hell you want. And, he's got a young boy there. I got two boys, probably about the same age, still living at home. And, I love spending time with them. They don't always want to spend the time with me, but life is sweet. Really, life is sweet. It just gets sweeter, and the more money you have, the sweeter it can be, unless you got problems and issues. And right now, Grant Cardone looks like he's going through some sort of crisis. I don't know what, but watch the video I just did. It's called Tearjerker. I'm a little bit critical. I'm critical, but you can see I think I'm a pretty fair and level-headed guy. But you guys like the format? I was thinking maybe I would do a live podcast, or whatever we call this, video cast, whatever you call this thing I'm doing. I do a live on a live. So in other words, when Grant Cardone starts up, we'll watch a live Grant Cardone at the same time. And maybe I could even call in to Grant Cardone's show while we're doing the show. I don't know. We'll get creative. But thanks, Anne-Marie. Glad you, and always appreciate you being here. And I'm glad you're tolerant with my kind. So look, let's get to some questions. I'll take a couple quick questions. If there's any more, I think I covered most of them. But listen, beat the bushes. Go, pound the pavement, knock on doors. Anne-Marie, I want to hear that you stepped up and talked to some people. I know you're a little bit shy in nature, but we got to get past a little bit of that. You got to be a little bit pushy. Not pushy, but assertive, right? Just, walk to the door, go through the motions. Lou, what's up? Are you still here? I'll call you if you need me to. You got my number. You can text me. Would you consider having a list of your mentees on equity? They have all accumulated. No, Heckmer, I don't know. It's not my business. Now, I want to see everybody make some money, though. Yeah, I agree. Lou just mentioned, he said, you have to work leads. He says he likes driving for dollars. That is very important. And today, I would say the deal that I'm about to reveal to you that you saw me negotiating on, that is a driving for dollars, as you guys call it. That's a new term. I never used that term when I was younger. And I just only recently, when I started doing this stuff, I started hearing all these, a real estate hack. I still don't know what it means. It doesn't sound good, but apparently it is. And I just know get a good deal, make a profit. Flip is fine. Assigning, I'm still wrapping my mind around the wholesaling. I just call it getting a good deal, making money. But that's like me. I'm the old school guy. Yeah, Ronkonkoma. Yeah, I land in Ronkonkoma and take the train over to Penn Station. So, all right, Anne-Marie, you do it. That's all you can do. You know what? You just keep working toward your goal. Keep heading toward the money. And eventually, you'll get there. You will definitely get there. So, hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to call it quits. I don't see anything new. I think I covered everybody's question. Again, guys, if you think of it, if you have time, go over to the comment section. Put a couple nice words under the video or some questions or comments. Because the chat really doesn't help the numbers pump up so much as it does in the comments. So if you can go over there, it would be helpful to the channel. But if you're busy, I understand. Okay, because I know I am. But hey, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.